Hello everyone and welcome to another video on Noor Yudarris. This is your host Mahmoud Noor. Today we'll be speaking about the musculoskeletal system. We'll be speaking about what basically makes it up, how your muscles contract and relax, and what kind of processes are involved with it. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and please like, share, and subscribe. And shall we get started? So basically the types of muscles in your body are three. There's skeletal muscle, cardiac muscle, and smooth muscle. So skeletal muscle is voluntary movement by the somatic nerve, and it has two fibers. Okay, you have the red fiber and you have the white fiber. So the red fiber basically has high myoglobin, but it's slow. It's a slow twitch, so it's slow but has high myoglobin. But the white fiber, on the other hand, has low myoglobin and it's fast twitching. Right, and myoglobin is basically an oxygen carrier that uses iron. To carry oxygen, and it's striated. Alright, so striated is like this basically. You see that pattern? That's striated, no gap junctions, no nothing. Next, you have a smooth muscle, and smooth muscle is basically involuntary action controlled by the autonomic system, right? Autonomic nervous system, and it's basically like blood vessels, bladder, digestive tract, respiratory system. With smooth muscle, it's like it could be the inner lining, the inner walls of your systems, and plus you don't really control these. They happen on their own and they display something called myogenic activity. Myogenic activity is the ability to contract spontaneously and with rhythm without external nerve stimulation. And next, lastly, you have cardiac muscle, which refers to the heart muscle group, and it's involuntary but striated like skeletal muscle. So involuntary like smooth muscle, but striated like skeletal, and has gap junctions. This is cytoplasm, and these gap junctions are adjacent to each other. Next, you have one of the most important cardiac conducting systems, which basically this is the system of sending electrical impulses to basically prepare for contraction, prepare for relaxation, when you want to fill up the blood and you want to basically move the blood from a chamber to another chamber. So SA node is in like near the right atrium, and it makes sure it starts the whole process of basically getting it from the right atrium into the right ventricle, and then the AV node kind of receives that and contracts the ventricle and makes sure what do you call it, that the atrium finishes, so it can let the ventricle fill up the blood, and then bundle of his receives electrical impulses from the AV node, and then the Purkinje fibers basically get ready to contract and push the blood from the ventricle towards the pulmonary artery that is going towards the lungs. Alright, calcium is required for all of these muscle contractions. So calcium is really significant, and we're going to speak about what makes it significant. Sarcomere is a basic unit of skeletal muscle, and it's made of thick and thin filaments. So you got actin, which is the thin filaments on the outside, and then you got the middle thick filaments, which is myosin and troponin. These are the thick filaments, and these then the sarcomere adds up to form myofibrils surrounded by sarcoplasmic reticulum. And the sarcoplasmic reticulum is significant because it contains calcium. Myofibril is the arrangement of sarcomeres basically. So a lot of sarcomeres come together and they form a myofibril. The three stages of muscle contraction is initiation, contraction, and relaxation. But now we're just going to speak just briefly about the skeletal muscle contraction, which starts at the neuromuscular junction, which has the efferent motor neurons. It transports signals to the nerve terminal known as the synaptic botin or botin, and then the synaptic botin then kind of triggers the acetylcholine release, and the acetylcholine release binds to receptors on the sacrolemma for contraction and relaxation, stuff like that. So first we have initiation. So initiation starts with depolarization process. So depolarization process has to do with the actual potential in which the Na plus the sodium channels open, and they kind of influx the cell. They spread to the sacroplasmic reticulum, and they help release or trigger the release of the calcium ions. And then the calcium ions act and bind to troponin, which troponin binds to tropomyosin, right? And the tropomyosin causes the myosin in the middle, like we said, binding sites to expose. So you see how exposed they are, so it causes it to be exposed like that. So after that you have the contraction. So the free heads of the myosin hydrolyze ATP, and they bind to the exposed acetin site on the side. So the ADP on the ADP that is hydrolyzed on the myosin head dissociates and causes a contraction, causes a myosin contraction, which is also called as a power stroke. Alright, and then it also pulls the outside filaments. So you see the acetin filaments on the outside, it pulls it for contraction, it pulls it to the middle. So you see how this is contracted and this is relaxed. And then ATP then binds to myosin, again causing kind of the release or the detachment of the myosin from the acetin. So that's the first picture here. ATP binds to myosin in order to detach or release any kind of contraction, and ADP causes the contraction. And then again, ATP hydrolyzes to ADP and phosphorus, and then you got the relaxed stage, in which it is a cogged ADP myosin head. So cogged ADP myosin head refers to specific states of the myosin protein molecule in the skeletal muscle during the muscle contraction, and it's a high energy state that is ready to interact with the acetin filament. And then all you need, so as long as you have calcium to bind to troponin, you're good. This process is going to continue on, and like we said, calcium ions bind to troponin to reveal the myosin binding sites for ADP to come. And then next you have relaxation. Okay, so with relaxation, basically acetylcholine in synapse is degraded by acetylcholine trinase or sterase, sorry. And then moving forward, this terminates the sacromella signals, right, and kind of stops the calcium ion release. And then the ATP binds to the myosin head, freeing myosin and acetin. So ATP like releases, ADP contracts. All right. Next, have you ever had like a twitch? Simple twitch is like single muscle fibers reaction to brief stimulus at a point of threshold, and it contains latent contraction and relaxation period. They're quick. They're like contraction, relaxation period, and then boom. Alright, that's it. A quick little video, and please let me know if you have any questions, and as always, stay blessed.